The creator problem Dawkins does not solve. Here's the thing about Dawkins that I keep thinking about. It is not that he criticizes religion. That part is easy to understand. Religion is obviously human. It is made of stories, rituals, institutions, rules, guilt, fear, reward, punishment, belonging, politics, and inherited language. You can study religion historically. You can study it socially. You can study it psychologically. And a lot of the time, when Dawkins attacks organized religion, I think he is on solid ground. Religion has clearly been used to control people. It has turned mystery into certainty. It has turned fear into obedience. It has turned questions into rules. So yes, Dawkins may be right about religion, but this is where I think people often jump too quickly. Because religion and God are not the same thing, and criticizing religion is not the same as proving that there is no creator. That distinction matters. A human-made map does not prove that the territory does not exist. It only proves that the map was drawn by humans. And I think religion may be something like that. A human map, full of human fingerprints, fear, power, tribe, control, politics. But the fact that the map is human does not automatically prove that there is no territory behind it. That is where I think the debate often becomes too simple. Dawkins is very strong when he criticizes religion. But I think he is weaker when that criticism becomes a dismissal of God itself. Because showing that humans created religions does not prove that humans created God. It may only prove that humans created stories about something they did not fully understand. And honestly, that seems very human. When we do not understand something, we give it a name. We turn it into a symbol, then a story, then a ritual, then an institution. And over time, the symbol becomes more important than the thing it was trying to point to. That is the problem with religion. But it does not remove the deeper question. Who or what created the system? And this is also why I wonder why Dawkins has become such an untouchable figure in these debates. Why do people hold on to him every time he says something about God, almost as if he has said something final? I understand why he is important. He is clear. He is sharp. He is confident. And when he talks about religion, he often says things many people already feel but do not say as directly. But I do not think he is the only person who sees the problem. It is not exactly difficult to see that religion is a human construction. Most of us can see the institutions, the rules, the guilt, the fear, the politics, the stories people inherit before they are old enough to question them. So when Dawkins points this out, yes, he may be right, but I do not think that makes him the final authority on the question of God. To me, it feels like he speaks very confidently about one side of the problem. The religious side, the institutional side, the human side. And that side deserves criticism. But the deeper question is still there. Who or what created the architecture itself? Dawkins often asks the famous question, if the universe needs a creator, then who created the creator? And I want to be fair here. That is not a stupid question. It is actually a serious one. His point is that if we use God to explain complexity, then we may have introduced something even more complex that also needs explaining. And I think that criticism should be taken seriously. A creator cannot just be used as an easy escape button. But I also do not think the question ends the discussion. To me, it only moves the question one level higher. If I discover who my father is, I do not deny his existence just because he also had a father. The fact that my father has an origin does not make him unreal. It only means he belongs to a larger chain. So why would a creator stop being possible just because the creator might also have an origin? That question does not destroy the idea of a creator. It only opens another question. Maybe the chain is longer than we thought. Maybe reality is stranger than our arguments. Maybe the human mind wants a clean, final answer, but reality does not owe us one. And maybe this is the slightly funny part. Even Dawkins has a creator. In one sense or another. Biologically, obviously. But also intellectually, culturally, historically. He did not appear from nowhere either. He was shaped by a body, a family, a culture, an education, a language, a time, and a system of ideas. So when we ask who created the creator, I do not think that question ends anything. It just reminds us that everything we understand seems to belong to some larger chain. And this is why the AI comparison is interesting to me. When we look at an AI chatbot, we do not assume it appeared from nowhere. We know it has an architecture. It has training data. It has rules. It has limits. It has feedback systems. It has people behind it. Even if the chatbot becomes extremely advanced, Even if it starts producing answers that surprise us, we still understand that it came from a system of creation. Now, I am not saying this proves that the universe has a programmer. That would be too simple. An analogy is not proof. But it does show something about our intuition. When we see a complex artificial system, we naturally ask where it came from. Who built it? What rules shape it? What kind of architecture makes it possible? So why does that same question become automatically irrational when we apply it to our own reality? If an AI chatbot raises the question of design, why does a world far more complex than any machine not at least raise the question of a creator? Again, I am not saying this proves religion. It does not. I am not saying it proves Christianity, Islam, Judaism, Hinduism, or any specific religious system. That is a different question. Maybe religions are human interfaces, symbolic, emotional, political, limited, often corrupted. Maybe God, if such a thing exists, is not the character religion describes. Maybe God is not a man with a beard sitting above the clouds, judging people like a king. Maybe that is just the human picture, the human language, the human attempt to describe something that cannot really fit inside human description. And that, to me, makes the question more serious. Because the real question is not whether humans invented religion. Clearly they did. The real question is whether humans invented God, or whether they invented stories about something they could sense but never fully define. And then there is another layer to this: programming. We recognize programming very easily when we look at machines. AI is trained on data, it learns patterns, it repeats structures, it responds based on what it has absorbed. But humans are trained too, not in exactly the same way, but still trained. We are trained by culture, by language, by authority, by reward and punishment, by shame, by fear, by belonging, by the family we are born into, by the country we live in, by the ideas we are told are normal before we are old enough to question them. A lot of people mistake programming for personality. They mistake inherited beliefs for independent thought. They think they are choosing freely, when often they are acting out scripts they did not write. And I include myself in that. None of us are outside this. We are born into systems. We are shaped before we understand that we are being shaped. So when we see programming in AI, we accept it immediately. But when someone suggests that humans might also be programmed in some way, people become uncomfortable, because it attacks the idea that we are completely independent, completely original, completely self-made. But are we? We live inside rules, limits, patterns, cycles, hierarchies, rewards, punishments. Civilizations rise, expand, dominate, decay, and fall. People repeat the same mistakes across history with new clothes and better technology. So if there is programming, is it really so foolish to ask where the program comes from? Not as proof, but as a serious question. Again, I am not saying religion has the answer. A lot of the time, religion gives weak answers. Answers that are too certain, too human, too political, too convenient. But rejecting bad answers does not remove the question. And I think this is where Dawkins does not fully solve the problem. He is right to reject superstition. He is right to criticize religious power. He is right to point out contradictions, cruelty, and irrationality inside organized religion. But the creator problem does not disappear just because religion is flawed. That would be too easy. It is like looking at a bad drawing of a mountain and concluding that mountains do not exist. Maybe the drawing is bad. Maybe the person who drew it was wrong. Maybe the institution selling the drawing is corrupt. But none of that proves there is no mountain. It only proves that humans are bad at drawing it. So maybe the real issue is that we keep confusing the map with the territory. Religion may be the map. God or the source or the creator or whatever word we use may be the territory. And yes, the map is full of human fingerprints. Fear, control, politics, tribe, power. But the existence of those fingerprints does not settle the deeper question. It only tells us that humans touched the idea, changed it, limited it, used it, sometimes abused it. Dawkins may be right about religion, but I do not think he fully answers the creator problem. Because asking who created the creator does not end the discussion. It only shows that the discussion is bigger than religion, bigger than atheism, bigger than the simple argument people usually have. Maybe religion is wrong. Maybe Dawkins is right about that. But maybe the question of a creator is still there. Not as an easy answer, not as a church, not as a holy book, but as a serious question about the system itself. Who or what created the architecture? And if we are willing to ask that question about AI, why are we so afraid to ask it about ourselves?